Hey guys, and welcome back to Beat 'em Up Joes. I'm Kelly Hampton, and I'd like to thank you for joining me again this Friday for another pickups video. These are games that I've recently picked up and added to my collection. And as you can see behind me, today we're going to be talking about the Xbox. We're going to be talking about the real Xbox One, the original Xbox. It's real funny how this naming convention works, isn't it? It's like they put these into a random number generator, and whatever that thing spit out, that's what we're naming the console. Xbox 360, go with it. This one's the Xbox One. Okay, it's our third console, but great. No, actually, the Xbox One has a different meaning. The One has a very specific meaning, and we'll get to that in just a moment. I'd like to go over a little bit of history behind the Microsoft console division and kind of give you an idea of what was going on in Microsoft's mind when they started developing the Microsoft Xbox console. So first off, Microsoft and the Xbox division have three things in mind that they're trying to accomplish with their consoles. One being bridge the gap between PC gaming and home console gaming. Two being they want this guy to be your entertainment center. They want this to be the one entertainment center in your household. And three, online gaming. And these three central pillars or ideals are what the Microsoft Xbox console division still stands on today. One being bridge the gap between PC gaming and home console gaming with the Xbox Play Anywhere campaign. You have your Xbox games that you play on your Xbox One, but then you can also play those games on your PC and vice versa. Now, there are only a few games that they're doing that with right now, but that is definitely their goal, to bridge that gap between PC gamers and home console gamers. The Xbox started out as the Direct Xbox. DirectX being the protocol in which Windows uses for all of its gaming stuff. DirectX is a plugin in the Windows program that does all your gaming stuff. I'm not super technical like you guys know, but that's where the Xbox name came from DirectX. Number two, the Xbox One wants to be your one home entertainment center. They want to do your TVs and your movies and your music and your home video games. They want to be that one media center in your home that does all that stuff for you. So that's where the Xbox One name comes from. And then three, the Microsoft Xbox division has revolutionized online gaming, and they've changed online gaming into what it is today. It's very much streamlined on their consoles, and Sony has taken a lot of cues from what they've done and made their ecosystem. So you can thank Xbox for creating that ideal of online gaming. It started with the original Xbox. But like I said, that's the three pillars that the Microsoft Xbox console division stands on, and still to this day, that's what they're working on. I just think that this stuff is interesting, and it all started here with the original Xbox. One other thing that I want to say about the original Xbox is, if you have played a Dreamcast or you own a Dreamcast and you've spent some time with it, you'll notice that there are a lot of similarities between the original Xbox and the Dreamcast, and that is because Microsoft helped out a lot on the development of the Dreamcast. They provided a version of Windows for the Dreamcast, and the Xbox controller is very similar to the Dreamcast controller, and we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Got two consoles here to show you and a handful of cool games, but let's go ahead and take a look. Hey guys, welcome back. Like I said, I've got two consoles to show you and a handful of cool games. So let's get started. The first thing that I want to share is my original black, original Xbox. And I got this guy for free actually because the drive drawer would not open. And this is a super simple fix to a super common problem with the original Xbox. All you have to do is replace a drive belt in here, and you can actually use a small rubber band that actually works better because it's got more tension and it's got more stretch to it, so it's not going to wear out like the belts that they used originally. Cheaper, works better, and it's just real easy to do. I've got a video up about the repair on this on my channel in my Beat 'em Up Joe's Retro Repair Shop series. And like I said, super simple to fix, and I have a working original Xbox that I got for free. So super excited about that. And this guy right here is actually the receiver for the DVD remote. I actually don't have a DVD remote, but this was in the console. I'll have to pick one up. But you had to have this guy to watch DVDs on the console. But it did play DVDs like the PlayStation 2. But very happy to have this guy. And one thing that I do want to point out is all this stuff is green. That's Xbox colors. So it's going to mess with my chroma key a little bit here. But that's what you get for using a green screen. I need to get a blue screen for doing Xbox stuff. And the second console I have is this wonderful green Halo Limited Edition original Xbox. And this guy is wonderful green, see-through, you know, like 90s cool electronics. I always really dug that aesthetic. But like I said again, this stuff's going to mess with my chroma key a little bit because it's all green. And this is a really beautiful console. I'm really happy to have this. Very happy to add this to my collection. Very cool. And next I have the controller that goes along with that. It's green just like the console. And like I said when we were talking in the beginning about this being very similar to the Dreamcast's controller, I'll show you the similarities now. But this is the original Xbox controller. This is the Model S. It's a little bit smaller than the Duke, and it's a little bit more comfortable. But you'll see that it's got, you know, the hallmarks of the Xbox controller, you know, the offset sticks, and, you know, the rounded face buttons, that sort of thing. But the similarities to the Dreamcast controller being that it has these two memory card slots. This guy does have a hard drive in it, used for saving games. You can rip your CDs onto the console. That's one of my favorite features of the Xbox console, being able to rip your music CDs onto the hard drive and play them in certain games. I've got a couple games that I'll be showcasing that feature. But moving on back to the Dreamcast similarities, you've got the two memory card slots on the top of the controller and the two triggers on the back. And like I said before, that's because Microsoft helped out on developing the Dreamcast a lot. So the Dreamcast in essence is, you know, the prototype for the Xbox. But there are some other similarities between the Xbox and the Dreamcast that we'll get into once I start getting into games. And it's really neat finding all this stuff because I've actually never owned an original Xbox. This is the first time that I've owned one. Now I own two. And I'm really having a lot of fun collecting the original Xbox and seeing some of the similarities to the Dreamcast and some of the things that it does on its own. You know, the original things that it does, being those three pillars that we talked about in the intro there. But let's look at some of the games that I've picked up. I just want to start off this with my biggest tip for new video game collectors is to always let everybody know that you collect video games. And this is a tip that I've kind of modified from Metal Jesus Rocks. Check him out. He's an awesome dude, collects a lot of video games, and that's where I got my inspiration for doing this. But his tip is always like when you're going to garage sales looking for games, always ask people, do you have video games? I collect video games. But I've modified that to just always let everybody know that you collect video games. Because most of these games that I've gotten were because I was talking to a guy about a Apple II computer on Facebook at one point, and I was kind of interested in the Apple II. I'm not a big PC guy, home computers, that sort of thing, but it is something that I've used, at school, the Oregon Trail and Carmen Sandiego. Very cool stuff. And if I could get something like that at the right price, I would be very interested in it. And he was asking a reasonable price for it, but it just wasn't anything that I really wanted to pay for something that I wasn't as interested in as maybe like a Nintendo or an original Xbox. But in talking to him and letting him know that I was a video game collector, he was like, man, you know what? I've got some original Xbox games and I don't have the console anymore. And he sold them to me very cheap. And just always let people know that you collect video games, because you have no idea how that's going to broaden your search. But I digress. Let's start looking at some of my games that I've picked up. First off, I've got Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. This is the younger brother of Metal Gear. This is a stealth genre game, very clandestine, covert operations type game. This is very much more that military type, ghost agent type stuff. It's not as crazy as Metal Gear is, but there's a lot more like movement and stuff like that. This is more about actually being a stealth agent. These are very cool. I've not played a lot of these, but very happy to add this to my collection and check it out and see what it's really all about. But these are very cool games. Also check out Siphon Filter on PlayStation consoles if you like military stealth action games. Siphon Filter kind of bridges the gap between Splinter Cell and Metal Gear. It's got more of like a cinematic presentation, but it doesn't go over the top, and it's a little more stealth military type stuff. So check out Siphon Filter if you've not checked those out. Check out Splinter Cell if you like stealth action games. And next I have NCAA Football 2003. Like I said, using a green screen with this green stuff doesn't really work out the best, but we're gonna make do anyway. But this is NCAA Football 2003. It's a college football game. One thing that I thought was really interesting about this one is it actually has mascot games where you play as teams filled with mascots. And that seems a lot of fun. So really cool. Check out NCAA Football 2003 if you like goofy football stuff. The rest of the football stuff seems very standard and pretty competent. It seems like a cool game, but I like that mascot team thing. Next I have Project Gotham Racing. Now this is a racing game. Many cite this as like the prototype for the Forza series, a big racing series on the Xbox. Probably the biggest simulation racing series out there now. But this is very cool as well. This is very arcadey, actually. I've not played a lot of the Forza series, so I couldn't tell you if this is actually like the prototype for that series or not, but I've heard some people say that. But this is very arcadey, actually. You gain points based on a kudos system, as they call it, by doing drifts and near misses and stuff like that. But it's a very pretty racing game. It's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing Project Gotham Racing. I'll definitely be playing some more of that. Next, I have James Bond 007 Agent Under Fire. Now, this is a first person shooter. I think this probably stems from, the GoldenEye. It's not made by the same developers or anything like that. This is made by EA. And, I think this stems from the popularity of GoldenEye on the N64. It's a first-person shooter starring James Bond, and actually using the likeness and voice of Pierce Brosnan, who did a lot of James Bond movies. And it seems really cool so far. I've really enjoyed what I have played. It's got some really neat, like, musical cues, using the James Bond themes for, like solving a puzzle or something. It's got something that's called James Bond moments or 007 moments, something like that. But like if you do the right thing in certain situations, you get, extra points. But very cool game so far. I'll definitely be playing more of this. Next, I have Reckless, the Yakuza missions. Now, this is a really silly, very Japanese car driving game that's all about like taking down the Yakuza. And there are some boss fights in this that are a little strange. You have to like damage larger vehicles by like, the first one that I played was a big like dump truck, and you had to hit ramps to hit this dump truck in these barrels in the back of the the dump area of the dump truck. So it's got some neat things going for it. It's just got some kind of sloppy driving mechanics that kind of threw me off a little bit. But once I get better at this, I think this will be a really fun, just cute, silly Japanese car driving game. There are a lot of cars to unlock, and this is really cool. If you've not played Reckless, the Yakuza missions, don't expect a lot from it, but there's some fun to be had here. Next, I have Crimson Skies, and now this is a big game amongst Xbox fans. A lot of Xbox fans will tell you that you must have this in your collection, and I would agree with them. This is very fun. This is a futuristic airplane dogfight game. It's very much, you're flying an airplane and you're getting into dogfights. There seems to be a pretty in-depth cinematic story in it as well. It seems really cool. It's set in the future. And, there are upgrades that you can buy for your planes, and you can buy new planes and things like that. This is very cool. And this is also Xbox One backwards compatible. So if you have an Xbox One, grab you a copy of this, or you can even buy it on the Xbox store as well. But this is the one Xbox One backwards compatible game that I own. Definitely check this guy out. It is very good. I've had a lot of fun with it and what I've played. Next, I have Amped. This is a snowboarding game, and I don't have too much to say about this yet. I wasn't blown away by it. It's pretty typical snowboarding game. It does have a lot of music in it, and this is one of those games that you can use your own music in. It's called custom soundtracks. You rip your music CDs to your Xbox hard drive, and you can play that music in this game and another one that I've got, and many other Xbox games on the original Xbox, and the Xbox 360 and so on. But this is a very standard snowboarding game from what I can tell. Maybe you like this. Let me know how I'm wrong and how much better this is, or worse than anything else, but it just seemed pretty generic to me. Next, I have another big game. This is Max Payne. This is a multi-platform game. You can get this on the PS2 and so forth. There have probably been re-releases on PS3 and so forth. But this is done by Rockstar, the Grand Theft Auto folks, and they've done a lot of like really cool action games. This is a really interesting one though, especially the original. in that the story is told in a, like detective noir theme, and it's very like the cutscenes are done in a comic book style, but all of the dialogue, and it's written there as well, but all the dialogue and the written text are very like literary like. But it's very cool. I really like that about this game. But this game is also very like action heavy and violent, and this is the beginning of the famous bullet time, where you do a dodge and it's in slow motion and you're shooting like three guys while you're in that slow motion state. And also like when you take out the last guy in any particular encounter, that is in slow motion. But very cool, very influential game, Max Payne. Very cool game. If you've not played Max Payne, definitely give it a shot. It's one of the most historic modern video games. Next, I have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X. Now, this is one of my favorite games of all time, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. And this version just completely makes it so much better. Because in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X, you can use those custom soundtracks that I was talking about. So listen to all your favorite music while playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 that, looks better, sounds better, runs better. This is just really cool. The only thing that I would say about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X is that they got rid of the iconic skateboard wheel main menu, and that's kind of a bummer. It's kind of a bummer. But this adds so much to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, one of my favorite games of all time, that it completely makes up for it. This also has 4-player split screen multiplayer as well. So that's another addition to this version that just makes it awesome. This is a lot of fun. Next, I have Madden 2002. You guys know how I like the Madden series. It's one of the biggest video game franchises ever, and still to this day. It's huge. There are people that buy just Madden every year. They have a video game console just to play Madden. So this is a huge franchise. And this one seems very good. I've played a lot of it. Not a lot of it. I played a little bit of it to record footage for this video. But, it seems like a Madden game. It looks good for its time, and it's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this. Next, I have Doom 3. Now, this is a special limited collector's edition. This is not rare by any means. You can grab these on eBay and whatnot. But this is very cool. Steelbook, very, very cool looking. I love this very much. I'm not the biggest fan of Doom 3 though. But what is so cool about this version of Doom 3 is that it actually has the original two Doom games in this package, along with some developer interviews. The G4 Doom icons is on here. It's just a really cool package for Doom fans. So if you like Doom 3, if you like the original Doom games, definitely pick this guy up if you have an original Xbox. I'm very happy to have this in my collection. And this was one that I actually sought out. This was not part of that lot that I got from that gentleman. This and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X are two games that I was like, now that I have an Xbox, I have to go get these games. But definitely Doom 3, the limited collector's edition, you want that if you have an original Xbox. Next, I have two games that, are synonymous with Microsoft Xbox, and that is Halo. I have Halo and Halo 2 here. These games are what really brought competitive first-person shooters to, online gameplay. This is what started all of that. People love these games. The co-op campaigns are fantastic from what I hear. I've actually not played a lot of these, so I'm really excited to have these and to check them out. I've got Halo 2 here. This is the one that started with Xbox Live. This added dual wielding weapons. So, this one's a big one. I think this is one of the bigger ones in the series from what I've heard. And this is a series that's still huge. Halo Infinity was just announced at E3 this week. And people are really excited about that. So I'm very happy to have both of those in my collection as well. Those are must-haves if you have an original Xbox. Next, I have a really interesting title. This is Dino Crisis 3, done by Capcom. Capcom developed a series of survival horror games alongside Resident Evil called the Dino Crisis series. And I know Dino Crisis because Dino Crisis 2 came with a demo for Resident Evil 2 before it came out. I've played a little bit of the games, but I've not been super into them. But this one is actually like set in the future and like on a spaceship and like these alien dinosaurs. It seems really interesting. It looks good for its time. My only problem with this game is that it is fixed camera angles, but it's not tank controls. So you're using like, typical 3D game controls where you're just moving your character around, but you have fixed camera angles. So when you move into a different camera angle, your orientation may change and you may just come out of that camera angle and get frustrated and go back and forth that way. So that was a weird choice to keep fixed camera angles when you're going to go out of tank controls. I thought that was a really strange choice, but it looks cool so far. I love Capcom, so I will definitely be giving this even more of a shot. I think it might be pretty cool. But that is an Xbox exclusive. I had never heard of it until I had gotten it. It actually came with the Halo Xbox that I have here. So really interesting title. Very interesting title. This also came with my Halo Xbox. This is the Ultimate Halo Companion DVD set. Now this is, it has Halo concept art and trailers and Master Chief renders and things like that. It has some stuff on Brute Force, which is another Xbox game. I don't know too much about Brute Force. I need to do some research into it. It has some Halo interviews and audio tracks and movies, Halo desktop themes for your Windows PC, concept art, storyboards, outtakes, and bloopers. And then it also has an Xbox demo disc as well. And I believe it's it's 2 discs. So this is your Xbox demo disc, and this is going to be your Halo Companion DVD. So really cool set. Just kind of, building more hype for Halo with your Halo limited edition Xbox. But one thing that I did not mention about Halo that I think is really cool, Halo has such a far reach that Halo actually even stemmed, video games on YouTube here. Halo had inspired people to make Red versus Blue, which was a YouTube series where these 2 guys or I think it was 2 guys, I'm not positive, I haven't watched a lot of it. But I know about Red versus Blue because of Halo and being in the video game community. And, it was just, they took video from Halo and they made stories out of it. And that's just another good example of how far Halo's reach is and how influential it is in the video game community. But next, I have the last game on the original Xbox, and this is actually 2 games. It's kind of a neat package. This is a 2-pack of Sega GT 2002 and Jet Set Radio Future. Both games are on 1 disc, so it's really interesting. very cool. Jet Set Radio Future is the sequel to Jet Set Radio. So, which is also a very big title. A lot of people in the gaming community love Jet Set Radio, and that is also an Xbox game. So that's another similarity to the Xbox and the Dreamcast. Is that they share a lot of like the same types of games, and like that Reckless, the Yakuza missions, that felt like a Dreamcast game to me as well. So the consoles probably share a lot of the same architecture and a lot of the same people that helped work on the Dreamcast, from what I can tell so far. And then also, like I said, Sega GT 2002 is also on here. I really enjoyed the time that I spent with this game. I thought that it was really cool. It has tons of cars in it that you can buy. I had a hard time kind of finding out what car I could buy at the beginning, because they give you $13,000 and they're like, okay, so buy a car to start off. And I had a hard time like going through all the manufacturer menus to figure out what car I could buy. I ended up buying, I can't remember what it was that I ended up buying, but there are Ford Mustangs in here, Dodge Vipers, there's some Audis in here. There's a lot of cars in this game. I can't wait to dig in and see what all cars are in here. There's some tuning stuff that you can do in the game. This seems like a big, robust racing game, and it seems to be based on like Sega's Daytona series, a little bit more realistic simulation-y, but this seems like a lot of fun. I'm going to be playing a lot of this on my Xbox. But like I say, that's all of the games that I've picked up recently for my original Xbox collection. I'm very happy to add this stuff to my collection just because of the history of the Xbox and how big it is with gamers and how much it has changed the landscape of gaming. And just the fact that I've never owned one, and seeing a lot of this stuff for the first time has been a lot of fun. But I thank you for hanging out with me. I'll catch you in the next video. Man, I ended up having a hard time editing this video. All of the game capture is what really threw me off. I had a lot of capture for each game, and it turns out I had so much that it was just hard to manage. I ended up just making that into a longer intro sequence, kind of a montage of all the games in this set. And I was going to throw it in once I was, picking up each game, but that ended up being problematic as well. So that's why I had so much trouble editing this video. I'm sorry I didn't have this out last week. I apologize, guys. But now it is finally out, and I'll know for next time I do a video like this how it really needs to be structured. But I thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I had a blast making it, and I'm having a blast with my original Xbox consoles and my games. It's so cool to finally own one of these. I don't know why I never bought an original Xbox, but I never did. So now I have one, and it's really cool to own, and I'm having a blast with it. Please join me tomorrow for my stream of WarioWare. We're going to have a blast with this dude. I'm so excited. We'll be able to just hang out and have a good time and laugh at this goofy, silly high score game. I love this game so much, guys. If you have not played WarioWare, definitely watch me play it tomorrow, and if it strikes your fancy, pick that guy up. It's a lot of fun. But I'm probably going to be streaming some Fortnite tonight. I've been trying to get on several times this week, but I've had so much going on. But tonight should be the night. I should be able to stream some more Fortnite, play with my buddy Brandon. Join us if you can. I will be giving out my Epic screen name. You'll be able to friend me and join us if you would like, and we'll play some squad games together. But Fortnite has been a blast, guys. I've been enjoying it, and I hope that you've been enjoying my coverage of it so far. I hope to do much more, and I hope to get much better at the game. But once again, I thank you so much for joining me. I'd like to welcome all my new subscribers that I've gotten recently. I've gotten like 15, 20 new subscribers in the last couple days. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. And welcome to Beat 'em Up Joes. We will catch you next time.